Hello and welcome everybody. Before we start solving this question, pause the video and read it carefully. This chemical reaction describes a reaction between carbon, which is in 1 gram, with a limited amount of oxygen. As a result of that, we could have a complete combustion, and this complete combustion produces carbon dioxide and carbon monoxide. And then the resultant mixture of carbon dioxide and carbon monoxide is passed through excess in AOH, and remaining gas is then dried and collected. Okay, so before we go deep there, we have to represent this in terms of a chemical equation, and we can say this is the carbon that is reacted with the oxygen, and we have two products in this case. So we have CO2 and CO. If you want to describe a chemical reaction, you should write a chemical equation and then balance it. So by doing some balancing issues in here, we have a number of oxygen in here, so we can change them to be even by multiplying by 2. And since we have 4 carbons, this is multiplied by 4. The total number of oxygen atoms are, we have 4 here and 2 here, then it's 3. Okay, we can say that from the question here, what is the volume of the remaining gas? All gas volumes are measured at 25 degrees Celsius and 1 atmospheric pressure. In this case, it indicates to the room temperature, okay? Since it's in room temperature, then you have to remember the ratio, which is 1 mole of any gas has a volume of 24 cubic decimeter. Okay, so you have to put this in your mind. But we have something else to be discussed. If you look at the second paragraph, it says the resultant mixture of carbon dioxide and CO is passed through excess in AOH. And put in your mind, an AOH is a base and it reacted with acid. So which of these oxides is acidic? For sure, it's carbon dioxide. All right, so the gas that is totally absorbed in this case is carbon dioxide, and it's no longer present in the vessel, which means that the only gas that we have is carbon monoxide. You will ask me about, is oxygen a possible gas that remains? Actually, no, because from the beginning of the question, it says that it's a limited supply of pure oxygen, which means all of oxygen amounts are consumed during this reaction. And which means that the only gas that you have is carbon monoxide. So if we know the moles of carbon monoxide, then we can determine the volume of gas. How can I determine the mole of carbon monoxide? By mole ratio. So if we come here to carbon, we notice that we're given the mass of carbon, so we can calculate the moles here. We can say 1 over 12, and it equals to 0.0833. This is for carbon. We can make a ratio between carbon with carbon monoxide. So we can say the ratio is 4 to 2. Since you have 0.0833, then the moles of CO are 0.04165. And if we just go for the ratio that we learned, 1 mole is 24 cubic decimeter, and we have 0.04165, and here we have X. Then the volume of gas is 0.9996, which is 1. And you know that your answer here is A.